Harry Potter came to me on a train in 1990. I was sitting just staring out of the window, and the idea just fell out of nowhere. It was the purest stroke of inspiration I've ever had in my life, and I've been writing about him ever since. My absolute ambition for the book was not that it would be made into a film, much as I love films. So what my absolute ambition was to be able to walk into a bookshop and see it on the bookshelf. Having said that, now I stand back from it, yes, I do think it would make a good film because there's a lot of action in it, and I can see that some of it would work very well visually.
The voice you just heard there was that of JK Rowling speaking about the inception of her character Harry Potter. Harry Potter's inception begins with the story Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, or if you're feeling a little less British, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. In a nutshell, 10-year-old Harry Potter lives with the Dursleys, his delightful relatives who treat him like a mouldy sock. They reside in the fictional London suburb of Little Whinging in Surrey. His life is about as magical as a honeymoon in Blackpool. But one day this all changes. On his 11th birthday, a giant named Hagrid bursts in like a pissed up rhino and informs Harry that he is in fact a wizard. Uncle Vernon, Aunt Petunia and their precious little Dudley are flabbergasted and are having none of this bullshit. But Harry's like, bah, Felicia, hops on Hagrid's flying motorbike and fucks off for Hogwarts. Hogwarts is a school of witchcraft and wizardry. Harry arrives at Hogwarts where the castle is so massive that even the ghosts get lost. The sorting hat, which doubles as a fashion accessory, puts him in Gryffindor, which is one of the 4 houses along with Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw and Slytherin. He befriends Ron Weasley, a ginger kid with a penchant for snacks, and Hermione Granger, who is the ultimate overachiever and in real life would have been bullied as a teacher's pet. At Hogwarts, Harry learns spells, potions and how to avoid getting eaten by 3-headed dogs. Standard wizard stuff really. During their time they find out that Hogwarts is housing a legendary artefact called the Philosopher's Stone, or the Sorcerer's Stone depending on your passport. It grants immortality and unlimited money, so naturally everybody wants it, especially the noseless villain Voldemort. Voldemort is like the ultimate bad guy. He wants the stone also, but Harry's like, not today mate, and embarks on a quest to protect the stone. The story ends in a nail-biting showdown where Harry faces traps, riddles and Severus Snape's greasy hair. But fear not, our hero triumphs and the stone is saved. And so begins Harry's epic journey, a tale of friendship, magic and the occasional awkward broomstick ride. So yeah, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, an absolute delight, and also the topic of today's podcast. Hello and welcome to the Adapted to Screen podcast, coming to you live from downtown Birmingham at the A2S Comedy Bar and Club. I'm Richie.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Steve.
Season 4, Episode 1, we are back. We are back with a bang. The Adapted to Screen podcast is an entertaining podcast where we take a book and we compare it with an on-screen counterpart, whether it be a TV series or a film. So yes, a brand new season, a clean slate, a brand new leaf, if you like. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be much fun. I think it's going to be our best season to date, I do believe. I've got a good feeling in my bones about this season. So yes, Phil, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you back. It's good to see your face again, your beautiful face. How have you been?
Hi, Richie the Body. I have been very well. And yourself?
I'm all very good, thank you. Have you got any New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, lose weight. That's it.
I think that's everybody's, isn't it?
I'm doing all right. I'm not doing too bad so far.
Excellent. And Steve, and our shiny new host, resident comedian. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. Doing great. Looking forward to the new year.
Excellent. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Of course you are.
You can never see it in my face because I'm a true Brummie, so it's hard to tell when we're excited. So yeah.
Nice. So we're doing Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. I do believe that the pair of you were, up until this point, Harry Potter virgins.
That's correct.
Yes.
So Phil, how's your journey been? How have you found this story, this book, this film?
Yeah, actually, Richie, well, not that I was surprised, but I really enjoyed the book. I thought it was great. And I thought the film was very true to the book as well, which made it equally as great.
Did you enjoy it? That's the main thing.
Well, yeah, I did, yeah. I'm sure I just said that, yeah.
Did you? I wasn't listening. I was looking at the screen. Sorry.
That's all right, mate. No, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was really good.
And Steve, I believe this is new to you. How have you found this?
I really, really enjoyed it. I listened to the audio book and I thought the film was fantastic, so true to the book. It was brilliant. Both done each other justice. They really did.
Yeah, it's not new to me. I watch Harry Potter pretty much every year, so I like it. I like the book. It's nice to come back to the book. I haven't read the book for years, but yeah, I've had a fantastic time with it again. So yeah. As stated, this is a new season. We've got lots of new stuff planned, lots of new sections to keep things exciting. For example, we're going to go straight over into our first section, our first new section, where our resident comedian is going to take the stage. So please put your hands together and give a warm welcome to our resident comedian, Stephen Dodd.
Hello, everybody. Oh, yeah. Right then, I got a few facts about Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. The first one is JK Rowling done the original sketches and ideas while sitting in a cafe called the Elephant House in Edinburgh, and I believe they'll never forget her. JK Rowling got her main ideas while sitting on a train for Harry Potter. Imagine if she was on a bus replacement service, it would be a bit shit. The kids having to climb through a cleaning cupboard at the Watford Gap services. We all agreed that while watching the Harry Potter films, the most unrealistic part of it was a ginger lad having two friends. Hermione Granger was supposed to wear buck teeth all through the films, but she found that she couldn't speak with them, and Janet Street Porter was considered too old to be cast in the role. And going back to our ginger friend Rupert Grint, during the filming of the chess scene, he was actually badly hurt, so it was a very bad night for him. And that's all for me this week, folks.
So that was our resident comedian, Stephen Dodd. Thank you very much, and it's really exciting to have you on board. I think we are going to do good things together.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to it.
Ace. So, we're going to move straight on with the show. No faffing about. We're going to move straight on to our first section of the show, which is the Author's Bump.
Author's Bump!
Joanne Rowling, born 31st of July 1965, better known by her pen name JK Rowling, is a British author and philanthropist. She wrote Harry Potter, a 7-volume fantasy series published from 1997 to 2007. The series has sold over 600 million copies, been translated into 84 languages, and spawned a global media franchise including films and video games. She also wrote an adult's book called The Casual Vacancy, and also under her pen name she wrote the Corman Strike series, which has also been adapted to screen, which you can find on the BBC iPlayer, with such titles as The Cuckoo's Calling, The Silkworm, Career of Evil, Lethal White and Troubled Blood.
Ace. The Corman Strike series, by the way, is a fantastic series. I really like it. We might be wanting to consider.
Yeah, spot on.
Might we want to consider doing in the future, maybe?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been given the most recent book, so perhaps we could do that one, and then I don't have to read it twice.
What's the most recent book?
The most recent is, I think it's the Ink Black Heart. No, is it? Or is it The Running Grave? The Running Grave is the most recent. When was that
released?
September 2023.
No shit. Oh, I'll have a look for the audiobook version of that then. I do enjoy that series. It was that series that introduced me to Doombar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, I always knew about it, but because I listened to 3 of them in a row, I decided I wanted to try Doombar because Corman Strike jinx it. And I like it.
Lidl do a very good knockoff of Doombar.
Who does?
Lidl do.
Yeah, Lidl do a very good knockoff. Yeah.
Good to know, good to know.
Lidl and Aldi just put the name on anything. Dr. Pepper, Professor Pepper, Pop. Yeah.
So that was the author's bump. We're going to move into the next part of the show. Now, the next part of the show is where I'm going to coin this Phil's rapey trailer. So that
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Or Phil's ransom
can't
demand.
say
That's
that.
what I'm looking at. Phil's ransom demand.
Please not rape it. You can't say that.
So yeah, we're gonna do that this week. I've brought a trailer also, but my trailer isn't done by me this time. It's been done by a channel called Screen Junkies on YouTube, and they've done it much better than I could. I've kind of chopped it up a bit, so it's not so long, and took the best bits of it. But yeah, Phil, do you want to do your rapey trailer?
Swear to God. Yeah, okay.
An orphan boy enrolls in a school of wizardry where he learns the truth about himself, his family, and the terrible evil that haunts the magic world.
Nice, excellent.
Can't help but laugh at that every episode.
Short and sweet and very scary. So I'm going to bring the trailer that I found, and again, thank you to Screen Junkies for this, because it's, like I say, it's shorter. If you want to check out Screen Junkies, I'll leave the links to them in the show notes, and you can check out the full trailer. But I took the best of what I thought would work for this episode with the Philosopher's Stone. So this is my trailer.
From JK Rowling, the author of the book series that kept borders open for another few years, comes the movie adaptation for people too lazy to read. Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
When an evil, noseless freak threatens to take over the world, it's up to this boy wizard, his totally useless friend, and his superior in every way hot lady friend to defeat him. And when I said hot, I only meant in the last 3 movies after she turned 18. Pervs. Journey along as they travel to a magical boarding school where kids learn potions, spells, and divination, but not English, math, or science. Where technology seems to be frozen in the 19th century, replacing cell phones and the internet with quill pens and owls. And where child endangerment is totally no big deal. Follow our heroes as they transform from adorable youngsters struggling to act
I can't be a wizard.
to awkward tweens, to barely legal heartthrobs, to young adults pretending to look like grown-ups. Witness the magic that will dazzle you with questions like, if magic is supposed to be secret,
You have risked the exposure of our world.
why is there a doorway in the most highly trafficked subway station in London? Why are all the bullies in one house?
Slytherin!
And why don't they just expel them? And isn't it disturbing that this rat on Ron's crotch is actually a grown man? Relive the excitement of acclaimed British thespians yelling nonsense.
Volate ascendere! Rubius Hagrid.
Avada Kedavra.
Felix Felicis.
Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin.
Battles that would have been way cooler with lightsabers, or if they just moved around a little more. And Rupert Grint's dumb face. Starring Luke Skypotter, Ginger Spice, Your First Erection, Warwick Davis, Professor Hans Gruber, Claudio Miranda, Harry Oldman, Warwick Davis, Forrest Whitaker, Odor, Michael Jackson, Lindsay Lohan, Warwick Davis, Vladimir Putin, Larry King, Gandalf the Gay, and Warwick Davis, Harry Potter.
Oh my God.
I did do one of my own, but I just thought that was much better. So comedy gold right there.
We was discussing with another comedian. I was telling him I was doing the Harry Potter, and we was talking about, you know, where they put the hat on you when you go and you got to find out what house you go to.
Yeah.
We was talking about they should have that in brothels where like you sit down and they like put the hat on, you're like MILF or Griffin Hall. No.
Yeah.
I took it in a weird direction, I think.
So yeah, that was our fun trailers. That's what we should call it. Maybe not rapey trailers. Fun trailers.
No.
Yes, fun trailers, yes.
Definitely.
Staying in this edit, but in future.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on now to
Hardbody's really informative and interesting fun facts.
That's right. Yeah. So Richie Hardbody's interesting and informative fun facts. I've got 3. I've got 3 that I'm going to use. The first one I'm not going to use because Steve already stole my thunder at the beginning there. So I've got 2 actually. First one is Rick Mayall was supposed to play Peeves in the movie. The reason he was cut was that Chris Columbus said that none of us were happy with the design, and I looked at the design of Peeves and thought we can get it better. So we shot the sequence, but we won't have it ready for the initial release of the DVD. We'll try and get it out maybe a year and a half later or 2 years from now. But obviously that never happened, which is an absolute fucking shame, because Peeves played a massive, as you know, if we've read the book, he played a massive part in the book. And I think Rick Mayall, I mean, he's just legendary at everything he did.
Yeah, lovely.
Such a shame, such a shame. And one of the other reasons they cut him out was because he just kept causing the kids to corpse. Like, that's constantly laughing, and I think it was doing the director's head in. The Sorcerer's Stone in America, it's not the Philosopher's Stone, it's the Sorcerer's Stone in America, and it was entitled the Sorcerer's Stone basically because the US publisher thought it didn't sound magical enough and wanted to title the film Harry Potter and the School of Magic, to which JK said no, and offered the Sorcerer's Stone as an alternative. So that's how that happened. So yeah, that's my interesting and fun facts for this week.
Hard Body's really informative and interesting fun facts.
Now, I didn't know about the Rick Mayall thing, and now you've just mentioned it. It just suddenly struck me how good he would have been in those films.
Yeah. I mentioned in the last episode we did about people who overact, and only certain people can pull it off. And Rick Mayall he made an absolute art out of it. I don't think anybody could overact quite as successfully as Rick Mayall did. And maybe Aid Edmondson as well. So we're going to move next on to the cast and the differences between the characters in the book and the characters in the film.
Well, that's why everyone's here.
Do you want to kick this one off, Phil?
Yeah, okie dokie. So, top line cast for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is, well, Daniel Radcliffe was Harry Potter, Rupert Grint was Ron Weasley, Richard Harris played Albus Dumbledore, Maggie Smith was Professor McGonagall, Robbie Coltrane played Hagrid, Fiona Shaw played Aunt Petunia, Richard Griffiths was Uncle Vernon Dursley, we had Vern Troyer as Grip Hook, we had Warwick Davis as the Goblin Bank Teller and the voice of Grip Hook. We had Ian Hart as Professor Quirrell, John Hurt as Mr. Ollivander. I mean, you could just go on, couldn't you? It was just, oh, look, it's David Bradley. Oh, look, it's what's his face? What's his face? Well, it was literally, but it was what's its face for the whole time, because all I've got in my head now is Hans Gruber. Who the fuck is Hans Gruber? I can't even think.
Alan Rickman. Yeah.
Alan Rickman, there we go. Yeah, no, but just like just everyone and anyone. You had Zoe Wanamaker, just everyone was in it, and I think, I mean, it might be a surprise to you guys or the audience. I've never seen Harry Potter before, and it was a treasure trove. I love doing. Oh, look, it's such and such. It's such as yeah. It was a cast of 1,000.
Wasn't Leslie Phillips voiced the Hat? Him, Ding Dong.
Yeah. Yes, you
I didn't know that till somebody ding dong, till my mate told me. I'd never watched it either. I'd never watched the film.
Of course, Billy Connolly as well as nearly. Yes. No, that was John Cleese. Was nearly headless Ned.
Nearly headless Nick.
But I'm sure Billy Connolly was not in it as well, or have I just confused him and John Cleese completely?
I think he turns up in later films.
More room for other people afterwards.
I might be wrong though, but I think he did play a ghost. I might be wrong there though.
But it's probably one of the best casts since Armageddon.
Similar storyline too.
Although, just before we move on to the differences, I couldn't help thinking that it was very similar to Star Wars and The Matrix, even though The Matrix wasn't out before she'd wrote Harry Potter. I was just like, there's a very much Luke Skywalker, Neo thing going on with Harry, I thought, but that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably do that with most films. You can always tie one film with another one. I mean, there's not really an original story anymore, is there?
No. So as me and Steve were the Harry Potter virgins, Richie, you are the Harry Potter #1 super fan. So do you want to start leading us through the differences between the book and the movie?
Well, we'll start with the differences with the characters first, since we've just mentioned the different actors actors. And
okay,
for me personally, listening to I'd listened to the book. I had Stephen Fry reading it to me, and he did it so well. I mean, I don't know if the audiobook came out after the film, but even when he did the voices of the different characters, a lot of the times he made them sound like the characters in the film, like Hagrid. He sounded like Hagrid in the film. If you want to listen to a good audiobook, listen to that. It was really good. I think you listened to it as well.
I listened to the audiobook. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was very good. But as far as the character differences go between the film and the book, I think they absolutely nailed it. I can't think of any character really that was not played as it would be in the book. I think they were all played perfectly. Alan Rickman played his part fantastically. Hagrid, exactly how I pictured him in the book. McGonagall, I think McGonagall wasn't as nasty in the film as she was in the book. I think she was a bit more hard-faced in the book.
Yeah.
But she still played the part really good.
She had more to do in the book, though, in all fairness. You know, she was more central in the book than she was in the movie. She was very much... In the movie, she was very much kind of like a bit part player. So you probably couldn't make her too nasty because she was the segue, wasn't she? You'd go to her if you needed to move the story on in the film, where in the book she was more of an integral part.
Yeah. Dumbledore... See, there was two Dumbledores. Who's the actor who played Dumbledore in the first one?
Richard Harris.
The one we've just watched. Richard Harris.
No, he wasn't going to do it, but his granddaughter said, "You've been asked to do that. If you don't do that part, I'll never speak to you again." So he done it for her.
And he did the first two and then died. And then he was taken over by...
Michael Gambon.
Oh, Michael Gambon, of course, the Gambon of all Gambons.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Richard Harris, he played a better Dumbledore than Michael Gambon. He just seemed a more humble character than Michael Gambon's Dumbledore, but they both still played the part really well. So that's my opinion on the cast. What did you think, Phil?
Yeah, I thought that the characters. Okay, so. The book was really well written and I really enjoyed reading it, and when I watched it on screen it kind of like all came to life, so everything was how it should have been. I wasn't disappointed in any way whatsoever. There were a few bits, and we'll talk about that in the next section, the few bits that I thought were unnecessary, but the one, you know when you have like a really stupid moment and you have to catch yourself and go, fucking hell, you idiot. I was reading the book, and when Harry is confronted with who is the bad guy at the end, I went, fuck me, that's going to spoil the movie now. And I was like, hang on, you're fucking reading the book, you've spoiled the whole movie.
That was very shocking, though, that scene. It did get me, yeah.
Because for me, because when I was reading it, he was completely insignificant, and I was not convinced, but I'm like, oh, well, it's Snape. He's a fucking wrong, isn't he? You know what I mean? Harry's head keeps fucking twitching, and he's being the moody one, this, that, the other, and when it's revealed, I was like, it wasn't until they said about the turban, I was like, oh, that geezer who passed out earlier on when the troll came, because he was completely irrelevant to me, you know what I mean? And I was like, fucking very clever.
Yeah, another fun fact about that, what you just said about his head touching.
Hard Body's really informative and interesting fun facts.
At the start, where Harry Potter sees Snape for the first time, and he's sat at the table and he looks over and his head hurts. It looks like his head's hurting because he's looking at Snape, but he's talking to Professor Quirrell, who's got his back towards Harry. So, and that's why it happens. But you wouldn't realise it unless you watched it back.
No, and I didn't notice that, even though you've said it. No. Of course.
Yeah. So, Stephen Dodd. What did you think?
I thought the one character that stood out for me was Malfoy, the horrible kid. I just thought he was perfectly cast in that role. From the characters from the book to the film, I thought he stood out for me the best. He just really was someone that you couldn't stand. He was fantastic.
Yeah, his dad in later films is also just as good. And they look alike almost as well. You can picture them as being like a father and son. And
on we feel it's just not really, nobody was out, sort of not cast properly. They must have really looked into, took the time. Because you could imagine, especially Hagrid as well, you could imagine him as Robbie Coltrane, and it was brilliant. And Mr. Dursley, he was brilliantly cast as well, and the little fat kid as well. He was brilliant.
Little fat kid.
Yeah.
Dudley,
which would have gone to me. I'd have been around. I would have been that little fat kid. I was that little fat kid. So yeah.
I thought Warwick Davis played all 50 parts really well as well.
I didn't even know he was in the film until you just mentioned it, because obviously he's dressed up as Troll.
You know, you could tell it was him straight away though, under that makeup. You could tell it was him straight away.
Flitwick, wasn't it? Professor Flitwick.
That's right, yeah. So he played the bank teller, Flitwick, and he was, because Troy Vernon, or whatever his name is, Mini-Me, was Griplock, but he played the voice of Griplock, obviously because he's got a stronger voice. But what made me laugh was with all this, all this woke business with, dwarfs have got to play dwarfs and so on and so forth. It's like, Warwick Davis took about 20 roles away from little people there, and he was quite happy to take all that fucking money. Don't come crying now, 10 years later, when you're going, Hugh Grant's playing a fucking Oompa Loompa, you bastards. You took everyone's fucking role.
Greedy geek. I'm talking about greedy. What did cause me concern was the amount of food the kids were given in that hall. It was just like unbelievable.
Yes, but it was magic food though.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of kids, so, I'll allow it to load.
And I also read that the food was left out in the hall for 3 days because there was filming no scenes over 3 days, so it stunk terribly by the end of it. Yeah.
I'd still have eaten it.
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's what we think about the difference between the characters. And to be honest, I think most people reading the book and the film would probably agree with our thoughts and thoughts on that. So we're going to move on to the differences now between the stories, like the story in the book and the story in the film. So, yeah, Steve, do you want to kick that off?
Yeah, I didn't see a great deal of difference apart from the opening scenes. Obviously, the baby being dropped off, and it was like Dumbledore just arrived. In the book, there's more of a build-up to him arriving and having a conversation and then taking the light out the lamps, and it just seemed a bit rushed. The first sort of 10 or 15 minutes seemed a bit rushed to me. They could have gone more to the book than they did.
I don't agree with that, actually, Steve. Obviously, in the book, they kind of built what they were doing. They were building up the Dursleys as people that you don't really like, and then with all the happenstance and what's going on and all these weird things going on, and then Dumbledore turns up and uses his little sonic screwdriver to turn all the lamps off and whatnot. But I think the main thing about this podcast is like the reasons why. The reasons why is you don't need that first bit. Really, you don't need that first 10-15 minutes, because then you've got a 3-hour film. You don't need it. You just have your man turn up looking a bit try dodge and drop off a kid and then go 10 years later quite easily. But there's a couple of things I wanted to point out about that start. Is number one, if this boy is the saviour, right, if this is Neo, right, that you've got in your arms, that you've entrusted to that fucking Somerset bumpkin on a flying bike, why would you turn up at midnight and leave it on a doorstep for 7 hours? The kid's just going to lie there for 7. Like, seriously, this is the one, and you've dumped him on a doorstep. Number two, I don't agree with the writing of the Dursleys, that Dursleys were horrible and hateful and hated Harry and made him live under a cupboard under the stairs. Now, it's fair to say if Aunt Petunia, her sister, is Harry's mom, so for them not to like wizards is perfectly fine. That they don't like it, they don't agree with it, they think it's weird, so on and so forth. Right? There's no reason, there's no story arc in this film for them to be mean to Harry. What they could have done, they could have resented the fact they've got him, but treated him like a normal person. He's got his own bedroom and everything's on. But then when the letter comes, they don't want him to go because they've raised him as their own. They don't want him to go, rather than be hateful people who then don't want him to go, because surely you'd just want him to fuck off, wouldn't you? You've treated him like you've fucking smuggled him in from Cambodia.
Didn't he got his own room in the book, didn't he, for a short time?
Exactly, yes, because when they got the letter, because it says to Harry Potter, the cupboard under the stairs are like shit, they're watching, we need to give him a room. But it's just like they treated him like shit for 10 years, and then don't want him to go. So what, they want him to hang around for another 18 years, like for another 8 years or something, living. It just, that none of that made sense. They didn't have to be cruel and horrible people. They didn't.
Well, if you had a wizard in your house, imagine how much fun you'd have. It'd be fantastic.
No, but remember that they don't like wizards. Okay, they're anti-wizards, which is fine. But they could have been nice, caring people and tried to. They brought him up as their own, and they don't want him to go. That's why they're blocking the letters. They don't want him to go because they love him, not because the hateful creature. It didn't make sense, and it didn't add anything to the film other than because, like, Harry's like, because in the book, and you know, it's like Harry's had his hand-me-downs his whole life. He doesn't get anything. He doesn't go anywhere. He sleeps in a cupboard. He gets blamed for everything. What the fuck do you want him around for then? Just you know. And then when he goes to the school, he's kind of, you know, he doesn't know anything about the school, which he picks up everything fucking pretty quickly because he's hardcore, because he's Neo and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, that was the one bit I didn't agree with. Why did they have to be so hateful?
Yeah,
because it didn't add anything to the story.
And the day of going to the zoo, he wasn't meant to go to the zoo. He's meant to go to the old ladies again in the book. And I thought they could have used that in the film and made that a bit comical.
No, again, Steve, no, because they needed to get him to Hogwarts. They haven't got time because between Harry being dropped off and Harry going to Hogwarts, it's probably about an hour's read. You haven't got half an hour to go, oh, we're going to the zoo with Dudley's mate and you're going to your aunt's and because let's not forget, attention spans are what's going on. You need to get to it. And the main point is when all those letters started coming in the movie, they just end up in some fucking barn on an island and you didn't see all of that. We need to get out, we need to whereas if they were caring people and loving people and didn't want him to go, you could have had we need to get out of here to save Harry.
Yeah, they went to a lot of effort to make sure he didn't go to this school, considering they didn't want him. I mean, an island in the middle of the sea. It explains it a bit more in the book, and if you've only watched the film, you're kind of thinking, well, how the fuck did they get there, and how do they know about this place?
Yeah, because they went to several places, didn't they? They went to a motel, they went to other places, caravans and whatever, and they ended up there.
On an off note, those owls I would use if I had a debt collection agency because they're just so persistent. It's unbelievable.
They certainly are.
We didn't get your demand, you did, because the owls brought it.
And you can't miss them. There was fucking hundreds of them outside your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was shit all over your car.
They're still on your roof, mate, so I know it's been delivered.
For me, I think the story matches up pretty well between the book and the film. Obviously, the film leaves out a lot of unnecessary stuff, like you say. I think the film did it really well. To be honest, I do miss...
It cut out all the filler.
I do miss Peeves. Obviously, they did it well and he wasn't needed, but I think he'd have added some interesting obstacles to the three of them while they're on their adventures, trying to get around the castle unseen, and he'd have played a very funny bellend.
To be honest, I don't remember Peeves in the book at all. Really, to be honest, but there was a lot of people, there was a lot of different names and stuff, so it's trying to remember everything.
I think all in all they did translate it very well in the film. They've done the book credit.
There's one thing I've got to bring up, right? If you look like Ron Weasley, you don't be mean to any girl ever, right? And that's just a little fucking public broadcast for anyone who is a fucking ugly twat, right? And you've got a bird who's fairly decent looking, even though you're 11 and shit, don't be fucking moody to her, right? Because she's going to grow up to be fit as fuck, and you're still going to be an ugly twat.
Uglier, in fact.
In a knitted jumper that your mum's made.
Yeah. No, I thought, to be honest, there aren't very many different... I mean, there's bits that cut out, like when there was in the Magic Wood, as an example, and they meet Firenze, voiced by Ray Fearon. There was more unicorns or manitars in the woods because Firenze rides Harry out of the woods to safety, and he gets cussed off by his mates, going, "Oh, what you doing, letting humans ride you, you dummy," and giving it all that sketch. But again, that was unnecessary. It wasn't needed in the movie, was it? And I suppose it probably would have cost them an extra $200,000 to CGI a couple of other manitars in there.
Centaurs, aren't they? Is it centaurs?
Centaurs, manitars, centaurs. Sorry, centaurs.
I think that is another difference. The centaurs in the book, they were more mongy than the centaurs in the film. They were...
I don't think we can say that on the podcast, Richard.
If Ricky Gervais can say the word mong, I can say the word mong.
Okay, fair enough. Okay.
But yeah, they'd ask him a question in the book and they'd be like, Mars is very bright tonight. And that's it.
I think that was all stone.
Although actually there was one bit, there was the bit when Harry got his Christmas presents and he got, in the book he got a flute. In the film he didn't have a flute. Hagrid had the flute and was playing the flute. No, I shouldn't have said that, should I? Which was his main line throughout the whole film. And I thought, because in the book, they go in and the three-headed dog has got the harp's on. And I couldn't really make sense of the harp's on and the dog's asleep. So why are you playing a fucking recorder as well at the same time?
Was there a harp on in the book as well?
Well, because the dog was asleep, wasn't he? That's how the person got past him in the, or maybe not. Maybe the harp was off and he was awake.
I think that brought the recorder in because everyone's always said, "What was the point of me learning Three Blind Mice at school through a recorder?" And now they're trying to just say a recorder is worth it. It will get you past the three-headed dog.
It's my time to shine.
Yeah, it will get you past that three-headed XL bully.
Yeah. No, but there was loads of good bits. I think, actually, and trying, because I read the book and watched the film very, very close together. So there was a bit, I think, when Dumbledore makes his speech and he says something like, the third floor's out of bounds unless you want to meet a horrible death. But I don't think that was in the book.
He does, yeah, he does.
I think he does.
Oh, he does. Oh, okay.
Which seemed a bit grim to be saying to a bunch of 10-year-olds.
Yeah, but that's also to say, I fucking told you once, you little pricks.
But if it's that bad and you're that good at magic, surely you'd have something in place to make sure that it's off bounds to the point where they couldn't get there anyway.
Perhaps he'd done it for Ofsted purposes. When them kids get mutilated and killed, they go, did you warn them? Well, I did warn them. So, yeah.
Oh, the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 at play.
Yeah, there are a lot of problems with it. It's like even in a normal world, in this non-wizarding world, if we know that, I mean, obviously you wouldn't keep a 50-foot giant XL bully in a school, but if you did, for whatever reason, you'd make sure there are precautions put in place to make sure that the kids couldn't even get near it. But what Dumbledore's saying is, it's accessible to kids, but don't go there. Well, don't make it accessible. It's ridiculous. And if you're protecting something so valuable, surely there's better ways of doing it than a chess game, flying keys. It just seemed a bit silly ways of protecting something so valuable. Dumbledore's meant to be the best wizard on the planet. Nobody's more powerful than Dumbledore. It's only a small stone. Just stick it in your fucking pocket. Voldemort's scared of him.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a lot of effort for something silly. But again, it is a kid's book, so.
But also, I mean, in the book, and spoiler alerts, the Philosopher's Stone is in the mirror?
No, Dumbledore states that only the person who wants the stone but doesn't want to use it will get the stone. So it kind of appears to him. It magically appears in his pocket.
I'd have put the stone in a Fray Bentos pie tin because you can never open then. It's impossible.
And then when you do, you're going to cut yourself to bits and you're going to have to go to hospital to have stitches.
Yeah. No, you want to put it in a corned beef thing.
Get rid of the key.
With those fucking keys. Yeah.
Fray Bentos tin. Our American listeners go, what the hell's a Fray Bentos tin?
Well, our American listeners are our listeners from all over the world, and we are always happy to have brand new listeners, and we've had new listeners from Mexico, India, Australia, Finland, obviously our American listeners, especially that one chap in Atlanta who has downloaded all of our episodes, and of course Great Britain as well. And of course, if I said India before, we've had Poland, Sweden, Malta, all listening in to random episodes. So for all of you non-British people, go and look up Fray Bentos.
And then try and get in one.
So yeah, that's pretty much the story and the characters covered. Should we do our remake, Phil? Should we go on to the remake? How we would remake it if we were given $100 million?
Have we done all the differences? Is that it? Was it as easy as that? I can't think of any more
differences, to be fair. It was pretty much spot on.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? It was pretty much like for like, wasn't it? And I think it was done very, very well, actually. I've got to say, I really enjoyed it, and I'm 40-plus-year-old man, and I really enjoyed it.
It's the first time I'd read a book of it or watched the film, and I was like, this is brilliant. This is really good.
Obviously, the acting of the children left a lot to be desired, but they were only like 10 years old, and they did get slightly better as the films progress. And it gets darker as well, so even though it's a kids' film, the first one, by the time you get to the last one, it's not suitable for kids anymore.
Yeah, at the end when he's in the hospital, in the movie, does Dumbledore tell Harry that Snape was Snape was friends with his dad, or his dad had saved his life? Because I remember reading it.
No, it doesn't in the film.
That's what. Yeah. So yeah, there's a difference. So in the book, he says that I thought Snape was out to get me. He goes, no. He said your dad done something much worse. Because what was that? He goes, saved his life. So he was trying to do the same for you, kind of thing. And I can't remember if that was in the film or not, or revealed, or maybe the reason why it wasn't was because Warner Brothers have gone, fuck me, we've got about 50 sequels here. Let's not reveal that just yet. We can use that for later on down the line or something. I don't know.
The relationship with Snape and Harry Potter is something I struggle with. I understand because of Snape's past with his parents, because Snape fancied Harry Potter's mother.
That's what I thought it was. I thought maybe he'd stole her from Snape or something.
But also Snape was bullied a bit by Potter's dad. So there was that. So there's every reason to... But the truth is, at the end, and I'm giving a lot away, that Snape he actually loved the boy, and he went out of his way to protect him at every corner. So I could understand him being hard on him, but he came across like he absolutely hated him.
It was from a position of love.
Yeah, but it doesn't come across that way. It comes across like he hates him. And somebody who's protecting someone from a position of love, but trying to be hard on them, doesn't come across that nasty, I don't think.
Yeah, but is that just because Snape's a twat?
Possibly.
Like, in general, he's just a twat, and so that's his way of, like I think in the book and the movie, it's, like, you know, like when they're doing the Quidditch thing and he's out of control, and it's like, oh, Snape's doing a spell, we can see him, it's Snape, and everything. Snape's got a bad leg, he's been trying, and everything is Snape. But
Snape goes out of his way. He goes out of his way, also in the book, which isn't in the film, he goes out of his way to referee the second match, and he does it on purpose because he wants to make sure that it doesn't happen again. He doesn't want that to happen again to Harry.
Exactly.
That's not in the film.
And everyone's like, oh, he's doing it because he wants Slytherin to win the thingy, so he can...
But that's not why he did it.
He can be no, was that in the book and the film, or was that...
No, it was only in the book.
Only in the book.
Yeah, see, that's what I was trying to... Because sometimes they do blur, don't they, a little bit. But like, were those differences left out either because they knew they were going to make others and they'd already read the other books and they've gone, well, we can save that. We don't have to reveal that stuff. Whereas obviously when she wrote the book, it was just a book. It was, there was, you know, she hadn't even got it published or what or not. So it was just, I can tie it up in a nice little bow kind of thing. Because that's one of the things that I thought when I read it. And obviously the story that you know about JK Rowling knows, she's fucking on her arse. And this is the only thing, basically it's the only thing she's got, and she's gambling on this actually making some money. In some films, like for instance Die Hard, where it's a pretty conclusive end, that's the end, isn't it? There's no sequel except for millions of people go and pay millions of pounds for it, and they go, right, we'll make a sequel, we'll just come up with an idea, and there's Die Hard 2. And you have some horror films, for instance, where you have the bad guy who can't be killed, who's then killed and then just comes back from the dead, and you're like, it's open for a sequel. But this kind of felt like that was it. You know what I mean? It's like, there could be more, but if there's not more, nice little finish to the story and all the questions are answered.
You probably wrote about Warner Brothers just thinking, wow, we've got a gold mine here, let's just hold some of this back for the sequels, what Phil said earlier.
Well, when we had Simon Bamford on, when we did our Hellbound Heart versus Hellraiser episode available in the archives, he had said that, and I can't remember which movie studio it was, but they greenlit the sequel within like a week of filming the first one. They've gone, right, we want the second now, done, get it done, while they were still filming the first.
Yeah.
Which is quite rare, but they could smell money. So they were like, sweet, either that or they wanted to see all that mad sex shit again.
I'm not sure. The books, as they carry on, they seem all very well written and very thought out. So I don't think it was something that was rushed because that they need to make the films out of them. I think she already had the plan for the whole series.
No, I mean, no, probably. But what I mean is when the book was written and it was published and it was doing well, they probably said, right, start writing the second one. Or maybe she'd started writing the second one and then obviously it gets optioned. You know, it takes a few years, doesn't it, for things to get optioned and brought and so on and so forth. So when it's come to filming, she's probably already written the second one and the third one's on its way. And they've gone, instead of using those little bits, it's stuff that kind of completes it, doesn't it? In the book, it completes it. Oh, that's why Snape was doing what he was doing. That makes perfect sense now. But maybe the producers are going, we don't need to let the audience know that. The non-book readers don't need to know that. We can save that for down the line. We don't have to give everything. Dave Dinsdale always said, always leave them wanting more.
I'm surprised the franchise worked out as well as it did, because it's basically what happened with George R.R. Martin. They got these first books, we put them out as a TV series, and they're absolutely fucking brilliant. And then George R.R. Martin, he just didn't keep up with the series, and he had the producers and trying to finish the story for him, and it just all fell apart and went to shit. But JK Rowling, somehow she did keep up and she did carry on, and she produced a full fantastic series. It could have gone tits up. She could have felt absolutely rushed and put out some really shit stories.
Well, what I'd say about the difference between those two is that I'd started reading the Game of Thrones, the first book, Song of Fire and Ice, I think it is, and then the TV series came out. So I was like, I'll just watch the TV series. And the book was so hard to read, like proper hard. It's so hard. I think because there's 7 million characters, and I think I say now, I've watched every episode, and I think I could name about 4 people. Like, fuck knows who anyone was. Like, I know, like, there was just so many characters, so many plots, so many different storylines, so many weird shit. And you're like, I don't even know who half these people are or what they're doing. Like, someone goes, fucking Greenfinger or whatever. You're like, who's Greenfinger? Oh, that fucking geezer. Oh, right, okay, him. I know him. I don't know what his fucking little finger. That's it. You see, I don't even know. It's just so maybe, for George R.R. Martin or whatever his name was,
he created too much.
Yes, and when they're going like, we really need you to finish that book, he's like, well, fucking hold your horses, you twats. You know what I mean? It's not fucking as easy as going, Harry gets his one day and fucking zaps Hermione. You know what I mean? Or, you know what I mean? It's not as easy as that. It's not as easy as going, Snape's a twat, but he's not really. And the real bad guy's here and he does this and he does that and that happens and they go there and they do this. It's jumping from world to world in Game of Thrones, isn't it? Literally. Every person's got an army.
Yeah. There's a lot of pointless stuff in there as well. It's like, for instance, when I was reading the book Game of Thrones, there's a character called Brienne of Tarth, and she's got this little follower with her, and they go on this...
Miranda.
What?
Yeah, that tall bird. Yeah, that massive... Yeah.
And they go on this journey. They're going to find something. I can't remember where it was or what they were looking for, but they go looking for this place. So they're going on this journey, and it's an adventure, and it takes them down this... It's like 3 or 4 pages of this journey, and there's lots of stuff happen, and when they get there, finally, it says, oh, we've come to the wrong place. What? Why? So then they have to go on a journey again. Why did you need to put that journey in there if it was pointless? You've just followed you for 3 pages and we've come to a dead end, you fucking knob.
Have we covered all the differences now then in Harry Potter? We found an extra couple. Have we got any others knocking away?
I can't think of
I think there's probably minor differences, but nothing to shout home about, I don't think.
Okay. So what's next then, Rich?
We're going to do the remake now, our $100 million remake. So, Phil, your remake... Actually, talking about remakes, I've heard they're making a series, a Harry Potter series. So there's already something in the works, I think.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to be boring on this one, Richie. I wouldn't change a thing. There's nothing you can do to make it any better, or you'd only make it worse. And because every single actor in the whole world is in that film who's any good, there's nothing you can do other than keeping Rick Mayall in it. That's it. And other than that, we can't cast children because we don't know any children. And if you're going to cast Ian McKellen instead of, what's his face?
Michael Gambon. Richard Harris.
Yeah, instead of Michael Gambon, Richard Harris. Instead of Richard Harris, I'd have him.
So you'd have Gandalf instead of Dumbledore?
Gandalf as Dumbledore, but Ian McKellen as Dumbledore, not Gandalf. I wouldn't put Gandalf. I wouldn't make him. It would just be the character. And I'd like to see Patrick Stewart and Ben Kingsley in it somewhere. But that's it. You can't change it because it's that good.
If I were to change it, I saw recently, and it was put out on social media as a trailer for a Pixar-style Harry Potter. and it was so well done. It wasn't real. Somebody created it and put it out as a real thing, but it made me realise that this would be absolutely brilliant remake, because you wouldn't have to use bad acting children as the voices. You'd be able to use,
of course,
adults can do children's voices, can't they? And they can act better. And honestly, it just looked fantastic. It looked more magical. So I think if I was to remake it and add that money, I'd probably do a Pixar-style remake.
Lego Harry Potter movie.
Lego. There's got to be one out there. There's got to be a Lego Harry Potter. I'm sure there is. Those cunts do everything.
Steve?
I'm with you with the Pixar one, but I'd try and bring in Donkey and Shrek. Somewhere along the line in the forest, just as a cameo appearance.
In the forbidden... No, Shrek is Hagrid.
That would be fantastic, that would. Yes.
Yeah.
That's all. Because the film was made, it was brilliant, spot on to the book. So there's not really a lot you can do there, to be honest.
Nothing could be done.
You could have put Roland from Grange Hill in as that one kid who Neville. Yeah.
Neville Big Bottom.
Yeah. Long bottom, yeah. Have you seen him now? I tell you what, all the kids have grown up to be really good-looking kids. It's quite a surprise.
Dudley, I didn't... I watched The Queen's Gambit, and it's one of my favourite series, and I didn't realise that Dudley was in that series, and he looks completely different. Doesn't look the same.
He lost a load of weight, didn't he, after the first two films, yeah?
Yeah, loads. But actually, that's another point as well. In the book, Hagrid gives Dudley a tail.
He does in the film. I remember seeing it briefly. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. It's a bit of a quick one. But again, that was another thing about the film, was like, well, we're all going home now for the summer. What are you fucking going there for? They don't like you. Like, what the fuck are you going there? Like, why don't you go now? Oh, Hogwarts, thanks.
I think the end of the season, I don't think he had no choice. I think he had to go. They all had to leave at the end of the term.
Surely he could have stuck with Hagrid or something like that.
And considering he'd fucking killed Voldemort, he might have gone, look, I'm being funny, right? And I've just fuck Voldemort up right now, that bad motherfucker who no one fucking likes. I've fucked him right up. Right, that family I live with, they don't like me. They make me live in a fucking cupboard under the stairs. Right, do I have to really go back there? They're going, no, we'll put you up in the Premier Inn for 6 weeks.
And where's social services in all of this? Not once, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hardcore. And what, they just give him up for adoption?
Madonna could have adopted him. She adopts loads of kids, doesn't she? So, yeah.
Or Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
But he's not Asian enough for Angelina Jolie, is he?
Yeah. Right, and what's next, Richard?
So, next, we're going to do... We've got songs for intro and outro, but I don't think what they've got is fine for me personally.
Yeah, I would use the Highlander intro and outro and all of the way through.
It's a kind of magic and all that.
Yep.
Maybe.
I'd have that at the end. Yeah, I'd have that at the end. Have all like the operatic stuff and the orchestral stuff at the start, and then just Freddie smashing out It's a Kind of Magic at the end.
Ace. Steve?
I would have introduced Wizard somewhere, the group Wizard. Look, I wish it could be Hogwarts every day, something like that. Yeah.
What about the Steve? Is it Steve Miller Band?
Yeah,
Abracadabra.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, get in the end credits. Voldemort, I wanna reach out and grab you.
Paul Daniels voiceover. Welcome to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Right, so we're gonna move on to the final section. Actually, before we do the final section, we'll just give them a score out of 1 to 10, the book and the film.
Oh, yeah. Which do you prefer?
Steve?
I prefer the book, although the film was brilliant. I'll give the book a 10 and I give the film a 9.
Wow. Steve's very generous.
He's very generous. He'll learn. But I'm going to give the book a 9. And I am going to equal the 9 because it was completely true to the book, bar the slight differences that we talked about. And the 1 point comes off because there was some bits in the book that didn't need to be there, as I have already discussed. So it's a 9 and a 9.
I'm with you, Phil. Exactly the same, 9 and 9. Yeah. I don't think it's very rare I'm going to be able to give anything a 10. But yeah, 9 and 9, I agree with that. Both very good.
Sweet.
Okay, so we're going to finish the show off with a new section.
2 sections, Richie. 2 sections. We've got the quiz and we've got audience participation.
Oh, of course. So we'll do the quiz, little game show thing just around the show off before we finish. And then we're going to bring 3 questions each. I'm going to start. I'll read out the question, and if you know the answer, shout out your name and then give me your answer. And what we're going to do is the winner, we'll note down the winner each week, and at the end of the season, the person with the most points will be crowned, I don't know, Quizmaster Brian.
Champion
Quizmaster. Okay, so I'm going to kick things off. First question is, all my questions are based around the spells. So my first question is,
fucked it.
If I'm about to cast the spell Alohomora, what am I doing?
Oh no,
something to do with Hawaii.
Are you making fire?
No.
Making light?
No. Nothing, Steve? No? Okay. Alohomora unlocks things, unlocks doors. Okay, so my next question is, if I'm about to cast the spell Petrificus Totalis, what am I doing?
Are you changing someone into something?
No, you're freezing. Did they not freeze? Was it Neville? Did they freeze him and he fell down, like made him all stiff?
Yes. They made him. They paralysed him. Yes. Point to Phil there.
Get in.
Okay, so I'm about to cast the spell Oculus Reparo.
Oh, fix his glasses.
Nice.
On the train.
Okay, yeah.
Fix them.
Yeah.
Specky twat.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my 3 questions. 2 for Phil. Do you want to go next, Steve?
What? This is mine to do with like the cast and the making of it and all that. What did Rupert Grint do in his video sent to casting directors that was different to everybody else?
No idea.
Ooh. He dressed as a wizard.
No. He rapped. He done a rap on his casting video.
Oh,
right then.
Because that's what they needed. That's what they need in Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Someone to rap. That never came in any of the films.
No. Right. Second question. A famous American comedian actor wanted to play the role of Hagrid, but he was told no because JK Rowling wanted an all-British cast. Who was that famous American actor comedian?
Robin Williams.
Yes, well done, Richie. Well done.
Yes, very good.
What famous American rock star recorded a song for the movie, but it was never used in the movie?
No idea.
Bruce Springsteen.
Yes, well done.
Get in! Wow. That was a complete guess.
I did not know that.
That's my 3.
So, Phil, you're up.
Okay, right, mine are fucking easy by comparison. Like, proper easy by comparison. What is Ron's rat called?
Scabbers.
Yeah, well done.
Well done, Richie.
What flavour jelly bean stopped Dumbledore eating them? Yeah, well done.
Well done.
Okay, right, now I've got the tiebreaker here. What's the scores, Steve?
You 2 have got 3 each.
Oh, no, I've got 4.
You got 3.
I got 2 in that first one. I got 2 in the last one, didn't I?
No, you only got 1.
I only got 1. 3 each. Okay.
Yeah, 3 each.
The houses are named after the founders. What is the first name of the founder Gryffindor?
Godric.
Bastard. Wanker. That's it. That's my 3.
Okay, so that bell tells me it is the end of the game, the end of our first game of the season, and at the end of that game, the scores are as follows. Phil has 3 points, Steve has jack shit, but this week's winner with 4 points is me!
No tiebreaker needed. Well, just for a bit of fun then, because I've got my tiebreaker in front of me. What did Harry get for Christmas from the Dursleys?
A jumper.
No. The Dursleys, not the Weasleys.
50 pence piece.
50 pence.
So that is the correct answer. However, I phrased it incorrectly. Harry explains in the book, he explains that he doesn't get Christmas presents and tells Ron about a Christmas present that he got recent or the previous time. Can you remember what it was?
Uncle Vernon's socks.
That's it, a coat hanger and some used socks. But that was also something that puzzled me a little bit, where Ron he'd never seen a 50p. So you're like, but you live in the real world, so surely you would see real things.
Yeah. Surely if you had wizard skills, you could shoplift really easy. Invisibility cloak as well.
Yeah, but nonetheless, you would still have seen, like, you would have had a mate who was a muggle, and you would have seen him with some cash. You just would have, wouldn't you? Okay, so well done, Richie, you fucking prick.
Yeah. What was your tiebreaker question, Steve?
I didn't have one ready, to be honest with you, because one of the questions was, when we told about what was the book called in America, but we've already said it about three times now, haven't we?
You know what, I thought that when we started, I thought we're going to start saying each other's answers here, aren't we?
Yeah.
At some point, we're going to come across answers.
My tiebreaker question was, if I cast the spell Wingardium Leviosa, what am I doing?
Flying?
No.
Getting your broomstick to move?
No.
Oh.
Similar, but no.
Oh, was it with the feather?
Yeah, you can make things levitate. Yeah, to make your broomstick move, you just say up, apparently.
Yes, you do.
The most unmagical thing you could, yeah.
Yeah, I've been shouted at the missus. Up.
Yeah, up. So my mum used to shout at us in school when we're getting up for school. She'd be like, up.
Yeah. So, we're going to move on to the audience contribution. Who's up first?
It's me, and I have Neil Kalsberg says, thank you very much for contributing, Neil. I think both first two movies did the best job at following the books due to the fact the first two books had less to consolidate, but I'll throw in the film as my favourite only because they did a great job with Hogwarts and gave me more visual to use in my head for future books. Very well said there, Neil. Very well said indeed.
Agreed. Grace Outlaw says, I will always choose the books over the movies. There's just no way they could have captured everything in my head on the screen. Even though the movies are pretty decent, some casting was brilliant, but several characters weren't how I envisioned them. Interesting. She would have been good to have on this episode. We didn't have that, did we?
No, and Grace is wrong, so we move on.
Okay. I've got Jasmine manga book. Always the book. There's more details, you understand the characters better, and then there's a lot more going on in a book than a movie.
Indeed.
There is more going on, but not a lot more going on in the book than there is in the movie. No.
Christian Matjevic says book, because the movie didn't come nearly as close to capturing some of the finer details, but at the same time, I thought the first two Harry Potter books were very cheesy. The third and the fourth ones are where the story really found its footing.
Yes, you can't really comment on this though, can you? You didn't see them.
No, we haven't.
No, I think he's right. It is very childlike.
It is, yeah. But it's a she. You'll find that even though you enjoyed this film and this book and you gave them a 9 and a 10, it does progressively just get better. That's why it's hard to give it a 10, because I know it gets better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, yeah. That's interesting.
Ashley Bender says that she's planning a Harry Potter Christmas for next year, well, this year now, and she's been bumping heads with her sister because Ashley has read the book and watched the film, and her sister hasn't, so there's been a lot of arguments. But Ashley, to be fair, if you've read the book and she hasn't, you're going to always have more facts than she has.
Hit her with a goblet of fire, Ashley. Just fucking hit her over the head.
With a goblet of fire. So thank you, everybody that's wrote in. We appreciate your participation. It means a lot to us. And we've put it all at the end, because that way we can make sure you listen to the end. So I think that's pretty much it. You can find us in the links. We'll leave all our links to the websites and socials and shit. Thank you, everybody that likes and subscribes. It means a lot to us. A heck of a lot. So thank you for joining us here on the Adapted to Screen podcast. This has been Harry Potter versus Harry Potter, the book and the film. I have been Richie.
I've been Phil.
And I've been Steve.
Thanks for listening, if indeed you still are.
Cheerio.
Did you ever make anything happen? Anything you couldn't explain? You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what? Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have been accepted at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry.
In a few moments, you will pass through these doors and join your classmates.
Keep an eye on the staircases. They like to change.
Good afternoon, class. Welcome to your first flying lesson. Stick your right hand over the broom and say up. Up! Wow. Mr. Longbottom, exactly where do you think you're going?
Do you really have the scar? Wicked.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity. First years should note that the Dark Forest is strictly forbidden, that no magic's to be used between the classes and the corridors.
Petrificus totalis.
The third floor corridor is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to suffer a most painful death.
Throw in the dungeon!
Understand this, Harry, because it's very important. Not all wizards are good.
I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed. Or worse, expelled.
She needs to sort out her priorities.
I think it is clear that we can expect great things from you.
So that was our Resident Evil.
you could be right there somewhere.
So that was our resident comedian, Stephen.
That was our Resident Evil.